co-chairman of the Conservative Friends of Pakistan and the chief executive of the Best Way Group, to say a few words of welcome.
Your Excellencies, Right Honourable Secretary of State, Mr. Chairman, our patron, Mr. Lord, our Lord, Right Honourable and Honourable Members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and Assalamu Alaikum. On behalf of the members of the core committee of the Conservative Friends of Pakistan, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all. This afternoon, we are incredibly fortunate to have with us the Right Honourable Eric Pickles, Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government, Right Honourable Francis Moore, Cabinet Minister and Paymaster General, and Lord Andrew Feldman, Chairman of the Conservative Party, and over a dozen senior members of Parliament who have graced us with their presence today. Their presence at this critical juncture of the electoral process is a testament of the high esteem the Conservative Party holds the Pakistani community. Our fundraiser today is also a celebration of the success of our community and acknowledgement of the invaluable contribution the 1.2 million British Pakistanis have made to our society's national fabric. Within a short space of time, we have achieved much. Amongst the ethnic minorities, we have the highest rate of home ownership, the highest rate of self-employment. GCSE exam pass rate among our community is higher than the national average at 84%. According to the information released last month by the GMC, there are more than 11,000 doctors of Pakistani origin registered in the UK. A further 8,000 dentists currently work for the National Health Service. British Pakistanis are extremely blessed to have role models in each and every field. In sports, we have Amir Khan and Moeen Ali. In music, we have Natasha Khan of The Bad for Lashes and Zayn Malik of One Direction. In media, we have Martin Bashir and Vishal Hussain. In literature, we have Hanif Qureshi. And in politics, we have Sajid Javed, Baroness Nashina Mubarak, Lord Tariq Ahmed, and Rahman Chesi as the trailblazers for future generations to come. The London stage for its part is showcasing the best of British Pakistani talent in the shape of the adaptation of Shahid Nazim's play Dara, which is playing in the National Theatre. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will agree with me that contrary to popular misgiving, the facts speak for themselves, and our community is making good progress in every field. Your presence here today means that you care about the Conservative cause. You are concerned about the future of your country, and you believe only a vote for the Conservative Party can ensure the gains of the last 5 years are not wasted, and the country continues to charter the right course. We British Pakistanis need to support the Conservative Party candidates across the country in general, and specifically in key marginal seats where our votes can decide the fate of the general election. Most of these key parliamentary candidates are here with us today, and I'm sure you must have had a chance to interact with them. I believe the community needs to stand up and take ownership of the political process. I have no doubt through political engagement we can become more productive members of the wider society, which can also help transform the image of Pakistan in the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, this event would not have been possible without the active support of my fellow committee members, in particular Kamal Raza, Amreen Raza, and our newly appointed coordinator, Nawal Ali. My thanks to them. I thank you also for being here with us this afternoon, because we are nothing without your support. So I hope you enjoy the lunch and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir. would now like to request the Right Honourable Francis Maude MP to say a few words about his recent trip to Pakistan. The Right Honourable Francis Maude MP needs no introduction. He was appointed Minister for the Cabinet Office and Paymaster General in May 2010. He is the Conservative MP for Horsham, West Essex. He has had several government posts, including Minister of State at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office from 1989 to 1990, and Financial Secretary to the Treasurer from 1990 to 1992. While in opposition, he was the Chairman of the Conservative Party from 2005 to 2010. Please welcome the Right Honourable Francis Maude.
Very much indeed, and thank you very much for inviting me to be at this splendid lunch. It's a great privilege for me to serve as the patron of the Conservative Friends of Pakistan, and what a brilliant initiative this was, and many congratulations to the co-chairs, Michael Wade and Zamir, for their leadership that they've given to this organisation. It's incredibly important. There are, as you've said, more than 1 million British citizens of Pakistani origin who are voters, who are we want to be as full members, participating members of this country, and the role of an organisation such as this is incredibly important. So it's a pleasure and privilege to me to serve as part of this organisation. You invited me to say a brief word about my recent trip to visit to Pakistan, and it will be brief because I can see people looking hungry around the room. I went there 2 or 3 weeks ago, only for 3 days, and what I was most struck by was the warmth of the relationship, how warmly regarded Britain is, and how much pleasure there was in the interest that we were taking in Pakistan's affairs and the commitment we were making to support reform in Pakistan. And it's hugely important that we continue that. We obviously have huge interests in common with Pakistan. We have a huge interest in our counter-terrorism strategy, in working closely with our colleagues and friends and partners in Pakistan. But our interests go much, much wider and deeper than that. We want Pakistan to be a really successful country. It has so much going for it, so many assets, not least an amazing people, full of enterprise and drive and initiative, and a country that could be spectacularly successful. And we in Britain need to work very closely with our friends and colleagues in Pakistan to help build that success. We already do a huge amount, but we can do more. And my visit there convinced me that we should do more, and much more engagement there, support that we can give to build the success that Pakistan certainly deserves to have. And of course, with the very large community of British people of Pakistani heritage in this country, there's every interest for us, because there are so many connections, a rich tapestry of family and other connections that bind our two countries so closely together. So it was a privilege for me to go there to help to build those relationships and build them more closely, and for me to serve with this organisation, the Conservative Friends of Pakistan, and to encourage all of you, to encourage everyone you know to support the Conservatives in this upcoming election. We've made a lot of progress in these 5 years, but there's so much more to do. The long-term economic plan is bearing fruit, but we're only at the beginning of this, and we need to finish the job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would now like to introduce you to our keynote speaker, the Right Honourable Eric Pickles, MP. The Right Honourable Eric Pickles was appointed Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government in May 2010. He has been the Conservative MP for Brentwood and Ongar since 1992. Eric was leader of Bradford City Council from 1998 to 1990. He had a number of positions while in opposition, including Shadow Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government from 2007 to 2009, and Chairman of the Conservative Party from 2009 to 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Right Honourable Eric Pickles.
Assalamu alaikum. Well, Your Excellencies, my Lords, members of the House of Commons, distinguished guests, and the rest of us. I stand before you as a firm member of that great National Union of Ex-Conservative Chairmen, of which Francis is a fine example. And like Francis, I'm not going to speak for an enormous amount of time, as you can perhaps tell from my waistline. I'm not going to keep anybody away from food, especially when it's curry. Now look, what I would really like to do, because I was brought up in Bradford, is just say a couple of words about my experience of people of Pakistani heritage. People came to Bradford and from my own town, Keighley, relatively late. They started to arrive in the late 50s, early 60s. And what we saw was people coming there, not necessarily making a decision to permanently settle, started to work in the mills, started to do all the things that are almost stereotype, opening shops, opening restaurants, working hard. I got to know people, and one thing that always struck me was the enormous energy. People were never content with just one job. They'd have 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs. They worked hard, they looked after their family. And you know, in the passage of time, what these people produced, not just a stable family life, but they produced doctors, accountants, dentists, successful businessmen, successful businesswomen, teachers, university lecturers, people who are putting something wonderful back into Bradford, Yorkshire society. And I think I was there last week. I had an Asian breakfast in Keighley on North Street. And I met a lot of my old chums from those days, some of which, to my surprise, I remember as working intensely for the Labour Party, and I'm true Conservatives. But coming from somebody that in my youth was a communist isn't too big a surprise. But nevertheless, my principal opponent was the first guy to greet me. And why? The truth is this, that Labour have played a game with community politics for years. They promise this, they promise that. It's all part of a rainbow coalition in which they try to keep the different component parts absolutely separate and try to organise a series of deals. And the one thing that they have in common with something that I feel is, ultimately, the Labour Party is consistent. It will always let you down. It's let this country down. It's let people of Pakistani heritage down. Now, Zamir went through a fantastic list of achievements. So let me steal from them. Let me just repeat what he said. Just consider this. You can't have anything in this country unless we have a strong economy. Our economy was bust. It was bankrupt. We had the highest debt at any time in our history, except for the Second World War. And we have pulled this country back from the brink. We've taken down that deficit. And it hasn't been on the basis of mass unemployment. Absolutely not. We have created more than 1,000 jobs for every day this coalition's been in. And Labour will say, oh, these are terrible jobs, these are part-time jobs. No, they're not. Then they'll say, oh no, these are terrible jobs because they are below minimum wage. No, they're not. These are good jobs. These are full-time jobs. And they're making a difference to our country. Then Labour Party will say, oh no, well, people are being left behind. We'll consider this. Zamir said really very clearly, you consider in terms that there are now 123,000 more Pakistani people in work than there were in 2010. There are more people of Pakistani heritage being helped with our enterprise loans. There are more people of Pakistani heritage being helped from getting apprenticeships. There are 24,000 apprenticeships just in the Pakistani community alone. And why? Because it's an important and vastly part of the British economy. You know, being from Pakistani heritage is a substantial part of being British. Without the Pakistani heritage communities, we would be less. We wouldn't have a full British identity. Now, I was leader of Bradford, and I was the first person in the country to introduce as a right halal meat there for school children. I can tell you it was an enormous battle. But it was based on good, old-fashioned Yorkshire views, which, if the community were paying their rates, as they was, they were entitled to the same kind of service within schools. And so, with greater understanding, with a greater grasp of the importance of the people of Pakistani origin, the Conservative Party, to be strong, to be representatives, needs us now to increase those numbers, because as the community has become more prosperous, as it delivers more jobs, we need that strong voice. And I think the difference is this between us and the Labour Party. While they see a rainbow coalition, while they see multiculturalism as something separate, we see it as a strength. We want a long, strong voice of people from Pakistan. We want a strong voice of Islam, because it's part of our identity. We want you to be enormously proud of your heritage. But your heritage includes being a firm part of British society. So be proud to be of Pakistani heritage. Be proud of it. Be proud of the enormous sacrifices your parents made for you. Be proud of that good education. But be proud of being British. Because we are proud of you. And be proud above all of being a Conservative. Thank you very much indeed.
I would now like to request our Conservative Party Chairman, Lord Feldman of Elstree, to present the vote of thanks.
So here I am providing the hat trick of former or serving chairman of the Conservative Party. Actually, both of my immediate predecessors I served under Francis as the Treasurer and Chief Executive, and then under Eric as Chief Executive, and both of them are great men and great servants of the Conservative Party. And actually, you know, I'm standing on their shoulders of their achievements in what I've done with the party, so thanks to both of them. Thanks also to Zamir Chowdhury for Michael Wade, the co-chairman of Conservative Friends of Pakistan, for bringing this event together. Conservative Friends of Pakistan really got going about 5 years ago, when we recognised, I think as a party, that we had failed to be very sophisticated in our approach to engaging with different communities in the UK. And there were a whole group of new organisations that were set up: Conservative Friends of India, Conservative Friends of Pakistan, Bangladesh, Conservative Friends of British Tamils, British Tamil Conservatives, and there are a series of groups. And actually what we were trying to do is be more sophisticated in our understanding of the individual communities. And the truth is the Conservative Party hasn't always been as understanding as it could be about the different communities, and we made it our determination to change. And we needed to change that in terms of the candidates, the members of Parliament, peers that we had representing our party, my co-chairman Saeed Abbasi, my original co-chairman as Saeed Abbasi between 2010 and 2012 was a big driver of this, and the mantle has been taken up by others. And it was a very proud moment when we found ourselves with the first Asian Secretary of State, the first Pakistani Muslim Secretary of State in Sajid Javid when there was a reshuffle a year or so ago. It was an important moment that it was the Conservative Party who was it was the Conservative Prime Minister who made that appointment. And so, thanks to all of you for coming out and supporting us. We are faced by a very critical general election in 52 days' time. When Grant Shapps put on all of our screensavers that there were 1,000 days to go towards the election, and he put a countdown clock on all the screensavers in the office, I thought he was completely mad. I've got 1,000 days. That's over, it's 3 years. It seems so far away, but there it is at the moment, ticking away in front of me, and now it's down to 52 days, and we know that it's getting very close, and it's going to be a very fascinating and important election. And look, at this moment, we do need the help of the community. We need the financial support, we need your votes, but also more than anything, we need to make a start, because actually our engagement with the Pakistani community is not about this general election. I mean, my view is that this is a 20-year project. If you really want to make the Conservative Party represent Britain as it is today, this is a long-term project. It's not about the outcome of this election. It's about ongoing engagement. And I think that in the last 5 years we've made a good start. There's a lot more work to do. But for all of those people in this room, all those people that have given their time and their energy to the party in the last 5 years, all of those who will continue to do so, I say a big thank you. And I say that we are really proud of this relationship and want it to go from strength to strength. This is just the beginning, and it's a long road, and I hope that one of my successors will be standing here in future times, possibly with me sitting there, as one of the supporting former chairmen, able to say that actually we've really made a breakthrough, that we've got multiple people of Pakistani heritage in the House of Commons, in the House of Lords, and that there is a change in the party even more profound than the one we see today. So thank you very much.
I think the speeches have built up quite an appetite, and so I won't come between you and lunch. So do enjoy lunch as it's being served. Thank you.